Hello, one and all, and welcome back to the second part of the prologue for Campaign X or Campaign 10, Divine Fervor. I am your host, as always, Virinity Void, and this time we're reading the second half of these submissions by our lovely participants. So in the first part, I did the first half. I did my own submissions, Maki's submissions, Viri's, Akamatsu's, Q96, Pimenta, and Sekan's submissions. In this part, we are going to be doing the Cyan Menaces, Senor Mango's, Absolved Gravitas, Cravens, Husoth, and Duck. So this is going to be another long part, as these prologues always are, but I want to give everyone their little chance in the spotlight so that, we get to see, what their early national ideas are like, as well as, generally, what is their start position going to be like? Maybe. Kinda. Here or there. First, we have the Cyan Menaces submission of Salento. The Cyan Menace did tell me his sort of shtick or theme with his submissions, and he goes for modifier stacking. So for this one, for Salento, he wanted to do a diplomatic focus one that's focused on a lot of good diplomatic relations. So it is Catholic, so easy friends with the papacy, or Duvacha, Sura, Aktimachi, etc., etc. Any other Catholic nation really is going to be really nice to have around for Salento. The traditions of Salento are diplomatic reputation +2 and diplomatic relations +2. The first national idea is no, there's no localization, I believe. Yeah, I don't think these are. So, first national idea is improve relations +10%. Second national idea is diplomats +1, and the third national idea is trade efficiency +10%. Salento, it really is primed to take advantage of the trade and the diplomacy throughout the entire Mediterranean, really. Morea is right here. It could be a nice ally. Sangvisferi, maybe. And plus, if they can also monopolize some of the nice trade around here, like at Napoli and then Palermo, I can see Salento being a huge power broker in the Mediterranean. But their navy needs to be up to snuff. That is the thing. The second submission from the Cyan Menace is Sufanburi. Sufanburi is right over here. First national idea, the traditions of Sufanburi are advisor cost -20% and cost of advisors with the ruler's culture -20%. So super, super cheap advisors. Even level 5s are going to be super cheap. The first national idea is development cost -10%. Second national idea is technology cost -5%. And the third national idea is idea cost -5%. So Sufanburi is going to be really gunning for developing this land with the extra monarch points it gets, as well as investing in technology to get ahead of their neighbors. So really, we shouldn't see Sufanburi fall behind in terms of military technology compared to their neighbors. What we did see in the test run, though, is that Sufanburi made bad alliances, and so they were always caught in the middle of other wars. They got occupied multiple times by Pegu and Kamai, so I don't know. Being Theravada is also going to help a lot too, because the Theravada gives development cost -10% and advisor cost -20%. So, if we just take a quick look, take a quick peek under the hood, look at that. Only 0.4 ducats a month for a level 2 advisor, and then it's 0.10 or 0.1 a month for a level 1 advisor. is barely gonna eat into the income. Like, they're gonna have so many advisors at high levels. It's gonna be ridiculous. Anyways, the third submission from the Cyan Menace is Ihri. Ihri is stacking some more modifiers, with the traditions being land maintenance modifier minus 20% and regiment cost minus 20%. The first national idea is infantry cost minus 10%. Second national idea is cavalry cost minus 10%. And the third national idea is artillery cost minus 10%. So we're going to see how well Ihri can maximize its land forces with minimized cost to every single regiment it fields. Ships might get expensive, but that's not the aim. It is just pure, just Mongolian horde, just all over the place. That's it. And keep in mind, their religion is really helping that. The next submission from the Cyan Menace is Trankebar. I believe this is a more of a buildings-focused submission, so let's see. The traditions of Trankebar are construction cost minus 25% and construction time minus 40%. The first national idea is Jane's Equilibrium, Loyalty Equilibrium plus 10%. Second national idea is Trade Efficiency plus 5%. The third national idea is Center of Trade Upgrade Cost minus 10%. And plus, there are plenty of centers of trade down here, so Trankebar is going to have a lot of trade centers to upgrade if they get the income for it. If they get the income for it, just like a normal trade center going from level 2 to level 3 is what, 1,000 ducats? Take 100 off of that because of 10%? 900 ducats? It's so nice. That's 100 extra ducats to spend on your army or your navy. And it should be noted that Trankebar also gets extra building slots because of the Mayan religion, construction cost minus 20%, and global possible number of buildings plus 2. The last submission from the Cyan Menace is Utulibi. I do not know what modifiers, but oh, it's the colonization one. All right. So Utulibi has settler chance plus 20, plus 20%, and global settler increase plus 10%, or plus 10. The first national idea is colonists plus 1. Second national idea is attrition for enemies plus 1. The third national idea is max hostile attrition plus 1. So whoever invades this land, I mean, it's not mountains, sure, but it's still gonna hurt to invade the land. Like, it's not gonna be easy. We're just gonna have to see just how well they do with their fast rate of colonization. I'm not sure if that's gonna really give them the power spike they need later on. I don't know. And also, Sani, in with Divine Fervor, gives global settler increase plus 30 and monthly autonomy change minus 0.10. So they're going to be having some serious colonial growth. Can we see? No, I don't think we can see like how much right now, like how many settlers a year they would possibly get. We have to wait till part 1 for that. Oh God, I need a sip of my water. Because keep in mind, I'm doing this second part of the prologue right after I did the first part. So my voice is getting exhausted. Next up we have Senor Mango. Always a good selection of submissions when he comes through. So the first submission is Toyuji. The traditions of Toyuji are Liberty Desire and Subjects minus 5% and Army Drill Gain modifier plus 25%. The first national idea is Ghost of Tsushima. Our shogun had a nightmare last night. He dreamt of a soul samurai fighting and defeating his force. He dreamt of a storm hitting his fleet and stopping him from landing. Eventually he woke up and he knew it was just a nightmare. Tsushima was a cakewalk. Global naval engagement modifier plus 10%. An underrated modifier for naval nations, in my opinion. Second national idea is Mongol rule over Japan. Mongol laws will enforce loyalty of the Japanese subjects. Though we are nominally independent from Yuan, we still uphold their laws. Core creation cost minus 10%. So, Toyoji in the test run did very well and actually won out in the Japanese Thunderdome. But, the Thunderdome did not have Tendai and did not have Inazuma, so who knows? Things could turn out very differently. But the next submission from Mango is... No. Shibata is not Shimabara. The next submission is Shimabara. The traditions of Shimabara are sailor recovery speed plus 15% and yearly naval tradition decay minus 2%. The first national idea is Legacy of Isukiri. Isukiri was the younger brother of Christ who actually took Christ's place and ended his life on the cross, thus allowing Christ to escape crucifixion and go through the ups and downs of travel to return to Japan. Here, he bestowed us his teachings. Disembark speed plus 25%. Another underrated modifier in my opinion. The second national idea is Fleet of Christ. Christianity needs a fleet to survive. The ocean is our only ally against the heathen shogun. Because of this, we need to ensure our navy remains eternally one of the best known in the world. Naval maintenance modifier minus 15%. So definitely a naval focused early on, but later on in their national ideas, I'm curious if Shimabara is going to be able to like outwit or outfight Toyoji or maybe even Guanseo. I have no idea. Early on they lost to Toyoji, so maybe they stick it out, maybe they just suffer and die in the Thunderdome. The next submission from Mango is Yayusu. The traditions of Yayusu are colonial range plus 10% and merchant trade power plus 5. The first national idea is Gaijin Daimyo, a trader, a navigator, a Dutchman, a second mate, but most importantly, our daimyo is a Gaijin samurai. He was the first Dutchman in Japan and bared the honor of becoming the first Western samurai. Though he is not immortal, his Dutchness that he bestows is. Manpower in primary culture provinces plus 50%. You know, Dutchness may be immortal, but is that something to be proud of? Like, is it? Come on. I'm not really sure being Dutch is something to be proud of. I'm just fucking with the Dutch people. You know, that's all in good fun. Second national idea for Yayusu is diplomatic masterminds. Our daimyo has a problem. Even though we are Japanese, our origins make us extra susceptible to being perceived as brutes. This cannot be. We have to invest heavily into ensuring our brethren that we are just as peaceful as the others. Aggressive expansion impact minus 10%. I'm not sure they're going to really bite and, you know, think that you're less aggressive. I mean, these are daimyo that you're talking about. They are aggressive as all hell. Anyways, the next one is Tendai, the newest one that was not here for the, what's it called? I can't remember what it was. The test run. And what was the... Tendai was supposed to have... a blood theocracy. Well, since I'm not going to be recording part 1 tonight, I will ask Mango what he would like for the reform of Tendai. Anyways, the traditions of Tendai are aggressive expansion minus 5% and disembark speed plus 25%. The first national idea is to surpass Shingon. Our people have been blessed with the Tendai Lotus teachings. They guide us in these trying times to ensure our liberation through the Lotus Sutra. Fort defense plus 15%. The second national idea is at war with streamliners. We are at an eternal war with the Hoso and Shingon. Though others like to claim ignorance, we know that daimyos and gaijin alike are misled. We need to utilize our weapons in ensuring perfection. Infantry fire plus 1. That's going to be very, very powerful if Tendai is able to get to it. Anyways, moving on from Tendai in the Japanese Thunderdome, where we don't really know what's going to happen. Whose submissions are next? We have Absolved... no. Absolved Gravitas is next. There is one more from Mango. It is Atlanta. I think this is a Fallout one, but I'm not sure. The traditions of Atlanta are production efficiency plus 5% and global trade power plus 5%. The first national idea is Ashes 2063. Sometime in the last century, a nuclear blast annihilated the city of Atlanta. Subsequent explosions rippled across the globe, triggered by an unknown aggressor. The face of the world was forever changed, or changed forever. Fort maintenance, minus 10%. Second national idea is enriched. Out of the ruins have emerged bizarre and twisted monsters, strange otherworldly phenomena, and a people driven by savagery. In the desiccated heart of old America, settlements struggle to survive the eerie wastes, mutated life forms, and each other. Development cost modifier, minus 10%. I'm just curious what's going to happen with Atlanta going to war with the United States of Albania and then 3488. Like, they're not far from each other. Really, like 1, 2, 3 provinces? Yeah, 3 provinces. 2, 3. 3 provinces from the United States of Albania and only 2 provinces from 3488. So, it's going to be a bit of a rumble here in the southeast U.S. And plus, they also have a parliamentary republic. So, curious what kind of parliamentary issues they're going to have. Actually, a lot. There's a lot of things they can do. Holy shit. Okay. That is on them to decide, though. Moving on from Senor Mango, we have Absolved Gravitas, who put through the Three Fires Confederacy. The first national... Uh-oh. Okay, no, I don't think these are mine. This is a .cst file, so it should not have any of my stuff in here. The first are the traditions of the Three Fires Confederacy are global trade power plus 15% and movement speed plus 15%. The first national idea is the Ojibwe, Keepers of the Faith. Ojibwe, the older brother of the Three Fires Confederacy, charged with keeping the traditions alive and ensuring that the knowledge passed from one generation to the next. Institution spread in True Faith provinces, plus 40%. The second national idea is the Odawa. Odawa? I think I got that right. Keeper of the Trade. The Odawa, the middle brother, are responsible for facilitating trade, both within the Confederacy and without. Their skills at navigating the waters of the Great Lakes gives them an edge over foreign traders. Merchant trade power plus 10. An underrated modifier in my opinion. And I know we only do 2 national ideas if they localized it. But the only thing that concerns me really about the Three Fires Confederacy is that they're between Otulibi and America, and there's no nation nearby with a religion in common with Totemist. So it's kind of like, how are they going to survive? That's the big thing. Because if they maybe will get one or two fully colonized provinces before conflicts inevitably start up between America and Utulibi and themselves. So I'm hoping that they do well, but we'll see. The next submission from Absolved Gravitas is EZLN. Right over here. The traditions of EZLN are governing capacity plus 30% and global defender dice roll bonus plus 1. The first national idea is anti-colonial fervor. We will never bow to foreign conquerors. We shall fight tooth and nail to remain free of colonial oppression. Morale of armies plus 15%. Second national idea is international solidarity. While we refuse to promote Zapatism outside of Chiapas, we wholeheartedly support foreign liberation movements. That was a period, my bad. We wholeheartedly support foreign liberation movements. Solidarity forever. Improve relations plus 20%. And the religion is Mayan, so they're going to have an easier time constructing forts and whatever else they need over here in the Mayan highlands. And also, it should be noted, they are a stateless society, so just like in the test run, EZLN is going to be one hell of a place to take over. The next submission from Absolved Gravitas is Rhaetia. The traditions of Rhaetia are fort defense plus 20% and hostile court creation on us plus 45%. The first national idea is repulsing the Romans. Unlike our cousins in Etruria, we remained free of the Roman yoke throughout antiquity. The proud spirit of the Rhaetians remain unbroken to this day. Morale of armies plus 10%. The second national idea is Alpine traditions. Our ways are the old ways. Our worship of Christ has merged with the old ways of the Rhaetian people. As such, we remain devoted to practicing the ways we know, not how that upstart Bishop of Rome tells us to. Tolerance of the true faith plus 1. And their religion is Orthodox, so stability cost modifier minus 20% and all that other good stuff you see there. Plus icons, of course. But yeah, Rhaetia is in the mountains. They don't have the stateless society reform, but they're still going to be kind of hard to conquer. However, Mondstadt is nearby. Croatia's a little nearby. Who knows? Rhaetia could be in for a bit of a jostling, because they are kind of religiously isolated. We shall see. The next submission from Absolved Gravitas is Hawaii. It is Muslim Hawaii. The first the traditions of Hawaii are idea cost minus 5% and ship durability plus 10%. The first national idea is Hawaiian navigators. Employing our Omani shipbuilding techniques in combination with native Polynesian navigational techniques, our ability to conquer the seas is greater than ever before. Colonial range plus 40%. The second national idea is Outrigger Raiders. Using the speed and maneuverability of Polynesian outrigger canoes, we are able to more efficiently blockade enemy ports without committing nearly as many ships. Blockade on impact on siege plus 2. What's going on? I couldn't hear anything out of my headset that's off to the side, so I thought maybe it's just a quiet song. I don't know. Anyways, Yeah, what we saw for Hawaii in the test run is that they don't have enough colonial range to get to the Americas, so they really just go for Oceania. They go for like they go for Midway first, and then from there it's any number of islands that they can get a hold of next. But you know, they are built for going off and colonizing far off places. I'm just curious if they're going to be able to defend these islands later on. Hopefully they will. They are also Karmatian, so yearly army tradition +1 and morale damage +10%. Let's see. Cravens. Oh boy, I knew we were going to get here. Alright. Gotta buckle down and do this. Gotta buckle down and get to work. Because, I'm gonna get a sip of my water in. Fuck, I might have to get like a different drink after I'm done with Cravens' submissions, because, wow. This is gonna test my throat. That's what she said. Anyways. Aktimachi. Production in the traditions is production efficiency +20% and no stability loss on monarch death. Pretty powerful modifier if I do say so. Fuck. The first national idea is the Akit's Gifts. Nestled between the inhospitable wastes and ever-shifting dunes of the south below, and the daunting, indomitable stalwart mount to the direct north, it is a miracle that the river Akit even exists, let alone how it's the single fertile most region the world over. We should have been accustomed to our fortunes by now, but humble as we are, we keep finding ourselves baffled by the endless extent of this luck that has befallen us. The crop is greener, its soil is firm yet softer, the waters are calm, and the animals docile. In the earthly haven that the hallowed Akit so selflessly provides us, we are thankful, and honor it in like manner as it's blessed us. We eat well, we live well, and our families are vast and great. Chance of a new era +200%, average monarch lifespan +50%. Second national idea is Lords of the Desert Folk. The southern desert, intolerable as we may find it, has indeed its uses. It keeps, for one, the lands safe from the Okrathians and their ambitions, and houses tribes and nations that are to us like brethren. Our languages are twins, and many of our and their legends share common footing. What we give to them in the form of food, clothes, and the great river's water, they give to us with their steeds, their swords, and their unyielding allegiance. Thus, what otherwise would have been a problem, as the tribesmen I'm fucking up. Thus, what would have been a problem to the tribesmen sure are. Oh my god, I'm skipping words in my head. I'm fucking up. Thus, what otherwise would have been a problem, as the tribesmen sure are to Fostanan and Elkorks, has become one of our greatest strengths and assets. Cavalry flanking ability +100%, cavalry shock +1. Oh my god. Okay, that's one of 4. The next submission from Cravens is Duvatsha. Alright. The traditions of Duvatsha are infantry combat ability +15% and yearly corruption -0.1. The first national idea is among us mountain breakers. Among the millions of nations that have made this blessed continent their home, none save one is there to rival us in our mastery of the mountains, and all matters therein adjacent. We break and shape their forms to our designs, and bend them to our will. Oh god, that cough snuck up on me, I'm sorry. Nothing that's crafted of stone and earth along this land may deter us long, be they the faces of the daunting mounts of Partu and Sura, or the long walls of the Black Bastion and Takra itself. In like manner will they break before our miners and our sappers. Land leader siege +1, and siege ability +25%. The second national idea for Duvatsha is Kued's ambition. The ale corksers yet whisper in fear of the days where Duvatshan yoke drew nigh upon them, where mighty Garunsha threw its doors wide open in the face of our advances, and where the defiance of Oms Tilarion and the affluence of Senaras failed to avail them. For mighty King Qued, first among men, came down upon their plains with his hosts and claimed it all for the glory of the triple sprung, and its mountain walls. Qued may have perished on the eve of his final victory at the hands of the weasel-like Southrons, who could only best him by surprise, but his glories were not extinguished. And so draws near the day where Duvatshan hosts shall descend upon Aelcorks once more and tear down their delusions of grandeur, bringing finally forth what ought to have happened nearly 1,000 years ago. Core creation cost -20%. Oh, goodness. So, that is Duvatsha. Clearly the mortal enemies of Aelcorks. The third submission from Cravens is Sura. Sura was in a campaign before, but they are revamped and they are ready to go. The traditions of Sura are land force limit +25% and technology cost -7.5%. Oh god. The first national idea of Sura is Egagos Saktosis. Kravens is gonna correct me so hard on these pronunciations. I'm gonna get like a laundry list of this. Anyways, the fertile lands beyond the Blessed Isle, what the outsiders in foreign tongues call Sura in its entirety, are lands rich, peaceful, prosperous, and cradled on all sides by the mightiest most mountains in the continent, save perhaps from the stalwart mount in Partu, way off west. These mountains, which we merely call the limits, the Aelcorks or brutes down south have taken to calling the North Shields. Dull as they may otherwise be, their naming conventions are fairly apt. These mountains have long shielded us from the woes of the outside world, and have been the catalyst to our prosperity. In dense woodland to our south and west, and in wide swaths of plain and wood due north of the Blessed Isle, however, the shields falter, and one may find the road inwards well traversable. While these routes are indeed important for trade, our state's expansion... What? I got confused. the structuring of that. While these routes are indeed important for our trade, our state's expansion, we must nonetheless put in toil and effort in fortifying these passes, with forts and citadels and beacons, the complexity of which nowhere else may be found, so that our forts too may, by their own right, be fashioned mountains by those who live beyond them. Fort defense +25% and own territory dice roll bonus +1. Let's see. The second national idea is quotas and rotations. The waterways in the Central Plain and the fertility of the country's rivers are a boon, the likes of which are seldom seen in this continent. But for all the head starts that our geography has given us in this matter, too. What? But for all the head starts that our geography has given us in this matter too, must we lay our hands over and improve. Our population is way too high and too rapid rising to depend solely on the whims and superstitions of the farmers toiling in these lands. So, to ensure an optimal output and the expansion of the farms, we must put care in irrigation projects and mandating certain crop rotations to be put in use province by province. We got both the manpower, the money, and the bureaucracy to spare for such a project, and the end result is only bound to boon us more. Production efficiency plus 20%. Okay. These names, man. These names. I love. I've said this every single time. I love the creativity with Kravens' submissions. The world building is fantastic. I love it. But man, some of these names and these sentences, like, wow. They're not bad. They're just tough. Bad and tough are not the same. The last submission from Kravens is Part 2. And this is the really defensive one, from what I remember. The traditions of Part 2 are yearly prestige plus 1 and fort defense plus 50%. The first national idea of Part 2 is Paru, or the Legend of the Mountain. Peru, or the Stalwart Mountain, as it's known without its confines, is probably the single largest mountain in this entire continent, matched only in stature by the Sudan Mountains off to the east. Our people sought refuge in its slopes and hidden inner valleys long ago, chased in by the threats we've long since forgotten. And for as long as we've been up here, the mountain's been kind to us. It has nurtured and nourished us and provided us with shelter against our enemies. None bar us can bear to live in these heights, and none dare to challenge up here in the seat of our power. Attrition for enemies plus 2, global defender dice roll bonus plus 1. The second national idea is down the Zisser. Forested mountain slopes stretching down miles on end on Peru's southern side, ending just shy of the mouth of the great river Eixe. The Zisser woodlands have long been a point of contention between us and the Eixe riverfolk, for we seek to claim the land to grow our food, protect our flanks, and plant our groves, while they seek it to encompass the entirety of their I'm tripping over my own words here. While they seek it to encompass the entirety of their hallowed river. As things are, we control the better part of this region, albeit flimsily. We ought to consolidate these holdings if we wish to thrive. Production efficiency plus 20%. So, that's how it stands so far between Part 2, Akdemachi, Sura, and Duvacha. I have a feeling Part 2 is going to be the one that's isolated the most, because Sura, Akdemachi, and Duvacha all are the same religion. They are all Catholic. Part 2 is the only one that is Coptic and is going for, that super fort defense, min-max sort of strat. I mean, just look at the capital. It is 105% defensiveness from the outset. So, we shall see what happens between all four of these in due time. The next submissions are from the other Greek, that is Hsath. I kind of agreed with Hsath that there was kind of like a pun going on between Muscovy and Muscat. Like Muscovy, they're kind of same or similar in spelling / pronunciation, with a little bit different. So he did a little switcheroo. The traditions of Muscovy are income from vassals, plus 10%, and governing capacity, plus 20%. The first national idea is shattering the Tatar yoke by encouraging our soldiers to take pride in the units they belong to. We can increase their morale and make them fight all that much harder. Actually, I don't think he localized it, but I think... I'm not sure. I'll read it anyways. The Third Rome. Surely no one ever doubted that we would be the legitimate ruler of our country. But if anyone did, this will be silenced. Or this will silence their doubts. Yearly legitimacy plus 1.5. I'm curious though. My main concern with Muscovy is kind of like with with Part 2, where it's religious isolation. They are the only Orthodox country in a sea of like Zoroastrian and Muslims. I mean, sure, you got Assyria, but they are Nestorian. Armenia, they are Coptic though. So there's not there's also Kolathunad, but they are Malankara. So I'm not entirely sure Muscovy is gonna be well off. And it's the same thing for Hasaf's other submission, Muscat. As punny as it might be, it's religiously isolated too. It's Ibadi, and the surrounding nations are Romuva, Rodnovri, and Orthodox. So Muscat's traditions are global trade power plus 20% and goods produced plus 1 flat. The first national idea is inland tribute. Having a mercantile agreement with our vassals ensures that their income will increase as other nations' merchants and traders will be forced to follow our standards. This will also increase the income of our country gains from them. Income from vassals plus 15%. The second national idea is Arabian purebred horses. Any horseman will tell you that the quality of the horse is as important as the quality of the equestrian, oftentimes even more so. Cavalry combat ability plus 15%. So obviously, just like with Oman, Muscat is pretty trade focused, although it's got a little bit of military oomph to it. So I'm curious to see how Muscat is going to do in the face of surrounding threats, though. And more so than Muscovy, because Muscovy can kind of like use the water around them to force people to go around Hormuz and around here, and that's going to drag out wars. Muscat is just really like, once they get a land border with someone, that's direct contact, and you're not avoiding a war after that. Like, you're not avoiding a war in the slightest. Anyways, the last 4 submissions, they are repeats from the last campaign, and these are from Duck. He didn't have time to make new submissions for this campaign, but next campaign he says he wants to do submissions, do new ones. So Mondstadt, Sumru, Inazuma, and Fontaine are all returning submissions. The traditions of Mondstadt are plus 20% movement speed and Monarch military skill plus 1. The first national idea is Dawn Winery. Army morale has been through the roof since we allowed troops a direct supply of Dawn's Winery's finest booze every day. Morale of armies plus 15%. The second national idea is Barbara, the Diaconess. Feeling down? Barbara's songs can mend even the most broken of spirits. Army morale recovery speed plus 10%. So, we saw Mondstadt last campaign kind of do well, but then did they? I can't remember if they were the ones that took off in Central Europe. I think they did, but they were humbled in a war way late into the campaign. So I have high hopes for Mondstadt that they can do that again, but there's different powers surrounding them, and religions are more powerful than ever. So maybe this time Mondstadt suffers. I have no idea. The next one is Sumeru. Let's see Sumeru. The traditions of Sumeru are technology cost minus 5% and idea cost minus 10%. The first national idea is the Heramites. A weird bunch of people, but they're half of our nation. Maybe we can get them to cooperate through payment. We should ask Dehya to mediate. Mercenary discipline plus 5%. The second national idea is the Akasha and the Irminsul. The Akasha terminals are invaluable to pass information between people instantly. Just make sure you don't share anything sus. The Archon is listening. Spy network construction plus 30%. Sumeru, again, last campaign, they were thriving and they had a nice thing going with, it was Kalahandi turned Nagpur, but the invasion from fucking the Baghdadi Caliphate from the west just completely messed up Sumeru late into the campaign. So maybe this time things will be different. Who knows? Sumeru has Jaunpur as a neighbor, Powo, Yongning, and Pegu. So Sumeru has different things to deal with. The next submission is Fontaine. The first national idea, the traditions of Fontaine are national unrest -1 and technology cost -10%. The first national idea is grandiose architecture. Excuse me. Fontainian people pride themselves in the grand palaces and aquarails. Let's keep it like this. Construction costs -20%. The second national idea is unofficial operations. Navia's work can often catch suspects before the authorities get to them. Maybe we should hire her, or at least ask her to cooperate in a more official manner. Spy network construction plus 30%. So last time I think Fontaine eventually formed Haiti and did very well, but I'm curious to see how they're going to deal with Venezuela and maybe even EZLN and later on Atlanta/3488, because there's no one in Cuba this time around. Oh no. Did Fontaine? I don't think Fontaine. That was the campaign before where it was a mega Haiti. If I recall, Fontaine duked it out with Cuba but couldn't take over Cuba. So there is no one over here this time, so maybe Fontaine does better. I don't know. Actually, can they form Haiti? Yeah, they can form Haiti. Haiti or even the Caribbean. Alright, let's see what else we got. The last one from Duck. Or no, oh no, he has two more. He has Li Yue and then he has Inazuma. That's one error on my my Excel sheet, but I remembered all of your submissions, Duck. I remembered. The traditions of Li Yue are trade efficiency plus 15% and national tax modifier plus 15%. The first national idea is the Milleliths. The backbone of our army, our trusted soldiers and police force will fight to defend Li Yue against all aggressors. Infantry combat ability plus 10%. The second national idea is faraway contacts. Our fame precedes us. Every contract signed with us is a contract with Rex Lapis himself and is unbreakable. People put in an extra effort to trade with us instead of nearby competitors. Trade range plus 40%. Trade range also gives access to more mercenaries that are stationed further away, so that could be useful later on for Li Yue. It should be noted that mainland China is way less crowded this time. I don't have anything there, and the only competitor nearby is Yongning and Wu. So we shall see how Li Yue does against them. And if you're wondering about the Empire of China, this will be removed promptly after the game starts, and Li Yue will not have any Empire of China bonuses, none of this stuff. So that's all going to be wiped once the campaign officially starts. The last submission, the last part of this prologue, is Inazuma. Previously, in the last campaign, Inazuma was in Kyushu, down here, but since that area was taken by Mango in the first, he got there first, Duck has been forced to move Inazuma northward to Mutsu. The first, or the traditions of Inazuma, are infantry combat ability plus 10% and discipline plus 5%. And the first national idea of Inazuma is perpetual euthymia. The lands of eternity shall also be the land of inner peace, even in war. National unrest -1. And the second national idea is Mistress of the Sea. Sangonomiya Kokomi's expertise of the sea waters near our archipelago will prove invaluable for our naval tactics. Galley combat ability plus 10%. I'm just curious how Inazuma is going to contribute to the Thunderdome alongside the newcomer that is Tendai, as Tendai and Inazuma were not present during the test run when Toyuji won the Thunderdome. So, with that being said, with all of that being done, that is going to conclude the second part of this prologue. We have gone through every single submission by a player, and now all that's left is for the campaign to officially start. I would like to thank you all so much for watching the full parts of the prologue, if you did, and taking an interest at all in any of the submissions from someone else. But I also just like giving a little bit of a spotlight to each respective submission, since people do put time and effort into these. None of these submissions are in any way like lazy or just like throwaways, as far as I can tell. Even the slot machine 3488, like it's kind of a running meme at this point, that we have a slot machine nation, and it's not completely generic. There is some like randomness in there, but it's fun to have around. And even average land, like there's some effort put in there. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this campaign. And if you stuck around this long, I'm probably going to say this throughout the campaign too, but this is going to be the last campaign for like a month afterwards. I'm planning on getting all of this recorded before the end of July, and then there's not going to be a campaign throughout August, and then campaigns will probably return in September or October. Again, I'm probably going to say this during the campaigns and at the end as well, but just for right now, that's what I'm looking at for the future. And who knows, we might be moving back to some old roots in the next campaign. Who knows? Anyways, that's going to be it for the part 2 in the prologue. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you when the campaign officially starts.